Liverpool are top of the Premier League, 25 points, only lost one game under Arne Slot. And I tell you what, I cannot handle another Liverpool title race. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City. I do not want any of those clubs near the Premier League title this season. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be one of them. So if Chelsea, Villa, Tottenham, Brighton, and I don't even like to say Chelsea there because I don't really like Chelsea. If they want to do something for me this season, please do. Because as a United fan, to see Liverpool, City, Arsenal, probably our three most disliked clubs fighting for the title is not enjoyable. Now, if I had to pick one team that I definitely wouldn't want to win the title, that is Liverpool. They're the arch rivals. And while I have a lot more respect for Liverpool than I do for Man City, Liverpool do not cheat. They do not spend outrageous amount of money. They're like a proper club. They've got the history. I have a lot more respect for Liverpool and Arsenal because of the club, the history. They're none of this outrageous spending or 115 charges. It just hurts if Liverpool win it more. I might have more respect for them, but it just hurts if Liverpool win it more. Because if Man City win it, you just forget. It doesn't feel real. But when Liverpool win, there's pain. And the worst thing is, Liverpool deserve to be top of the league. Now, this video is going to be about the real reason Liverpool are top of the league, and I actually want to get into some talking points. I want to talk about Slot and how he adapts his tactics more than any other manager in terms of the game state, and why Slot is a little bit different to Klopp and a little bit different to Arteta and Pep, and why I think Liverpool's top and what I think is different about Liverpool this season. But before I get into those details, we have to also say that I don't like to admit this, but Liverpool probably deserve to be top. I don't think Liverpool are at their very best. I don't think Liverpool are anywhere near their best yet. I think there was the first half versus Brighton, they were poor. First half versus Ipswich, they were poor. I think Chelsea, Slot went for the win, and I think let Chelsea have a lot of the game. I think Arsenal, they had a good second half, poorer first half. Same with Ipswich, same with Brighton, where they've showed up in the second half, but not the best first half. I don't think Liverpool have 100% been at their very best this season, but they've probably been the best team in the league. Manchester City have been very off it and been lucky to get points in recent games, and Arsenal have been very off it. And when you look at the underlying numbers, 21.21 XG, the most XG in the league, and then XG against, which is defensive record. Only Fulham have less XG against. But Fulham played Brentford today and played one less game, so Liverpool could, after 10 games, have the best XG against. And when I say I don't think Liverpool have been at the very best, that's not me critiquing Liverpool. I'm just saying I think there's more to come. I've seen them play better. I think Liverpool have been good. I think Liverpool deserve to be top of the league, as much as I don't like to say that. And I think the numbers back that up, the eyes back that up. It's not just watching them, it's the eye test, it's the numbers, it's a bit of everything. But I also feel like, they get someone in January, maybe someone that can give a bit of cover at left back or left centre back. I know Joe Gomez has stepped in and done really well at centre back, but maybe someone that can give cover at left back. I think Robertson's not in his best. Maybe a DM and push Gravenberch into the 8. Subamende, Gravenberch, McAllister could be a very good midfield three. Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones could come in and do a job. I think Harvey Elliott would be a very exciting addition under Slot. Szoboszlai has been hit and miss, but I can see what he adds to the team. And then potentially you look at another winger, but you've got Diaz and Gakpo competing on the left. That's a very good situation to be in. Nunez, I think he's looked quite good in recent games, Nunez, in terms of his work rate and what he does. Shotter's quite clinical when he'll be back, and then Salah and Chiesa on the right. I think Liverpool do have a very good team, but I think there is room for improvement there. But as I said, lowest goals conceded. They're conceding less than 0.6 goals a game. So the defensive record is insane, and only Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City and Brentford have scored more goals per 90 than them in the league this season. So as you can see, Liverpool got a very good defensive record and are pretty good going forward. So I wanted to talk about Slot, and I wanted to talk about why Liverpool could win the league and what Slot has done really well, which is a little bit different to Klopp, and that is about his tactical adjustments. But before I get into this, I saw this tweet and I wanted your guys' opinion on this. City and Arsenal both look wonky. That City result has been in the post for weeks. To be honest, City were lucky versus Wolves. The VAR went their way. And I even think like the Fulham game, I think they won 3-1. Fulham missed so many chances. I think City, and I know Liverpool fans have felt that they're not at their best this season, some that I've spoken to. But I think when I watch Liverpool, I think they've done enough for 3 points. I know you didn't have the best 45 minutes versus Ipswich, but you were unbelievable in that second half. I know you didn't have the best first 45 minutes versus Brighton, but you were very good in that second half, and the statistics and everything backed up that you did enough to win the game. Whereas I feel that City have been lucky. But he said that both Arsenal and City look wonky. Arsenal do look wonky. Liverpool potentially in the last dance with 3 of their best players. I don't just think they're favourites. I think there's a bit of pressure on them to do it, says Tim. Now, I want your opinion on that. down below. Now, I wouldn't say there's pressure on Liverpool to do it because I think this is Slot's first season. Very little money was spent. I think no one expected Liverpool to be in the title race. It was all about Arsenal City, Arsenal City. I think I predicted Liverpool third at the beginning of the season. It was an Arsenal City title race. Everyone was talking about Arsenal City. I mean, some people are still disregarding Liverpool in this title race, which I think is crazy because, yes, it's very early, but you're 10 games in. That is a good enough sample size to judge Slot. Brighton, difficult game. Arsenal, difficult game. Chelsea, difficult game. I would say United's a difficult game, but we probably weren't. He has had a test. But obviously there are things to consider. And I want to talk about Slot and what he's changed, what he's doing differently. But I'm just going to give you my thoughts on title race. Man City always seem to catch up and go on a ridiculous end of the season run. I do probably say Man City going on this unbeaten run from Christmas onwards and catching Liverpool up is very likely to happen if Liverpool are top of Christmas, because that's what City have done to Arsenal and other teams in the past. I think Liverpool will know about coming second to City when Liverpool get like 90 points. It's what they do. I think City are nowhere near the best, but sometimes they seem to get it together second half of the season and just win every game. Arsenal won all their games with 11 men, except for the recent game against Newcastle, and they do have Odegaard returning soon. And I will say this, last January, everyone wrote Arsenal out the title race because they went 3 games without a win. They were like 5-6 points behind. Everyone wrote them off, and then they basically went unbeaten since, were unbelievable, and, you know, took it to the final day. Arsenal can well and truly bounce back, but they're going to have to bounce back now. And then also, I think City have just played poor lately and lucky to get a few points, but City won 4 Premier League titles in a row. That City squad has won 4 Premier League titles in a row. They are more than capable of getting back into it. They've shown they've done it before, and they know they can do it again. So while Liverpool are top, I think that is something to consider in the title race. It's still early days, but I think there's a reason why Liverpool are top, and I want to talk about this now. So I look at the games versus Ipswich. Very good second half from Liverpool, not the best first half. Arsenal, good second half. Brighton, good second half. But Liverpool didn't have the best first half, but what Slot did was he analysed the opposition. He knew that it wasn't working, and he changed it. And he didn't really make many substitutions, but he changed his tactics in the second half. Now, my biggest issue with Ten Hag, he's now been sacked, was that it wasn't working, and then he would do the exact same thing in the second half, and he wonders why it still wasn't working in the second half for United. I was like, ugh. Slot knows if it's not working, he's not stubborn. He doesn't just wait for it to work and do the same thing again and again and wait for it to work. He's like, okay, that's not working. Let me try this. And his ability to then communicate that with the players, not just adapting his tactics, but his ability to pass on his ideas to players, communicate his ideas to the players, and the players' ability to understand Slot and then implement something different is massive. That's what I want Amorim to do at United. Is not only United, obviously. Amorim and Ten Hag's a massive difference, and the United players are nowhere near as good as the players that Slot inherited from Klopp. But if Amorim could come into United and say, this is what I want to do, and the United players can understand that, and if Amorim can make a mid-game tactical change and the Man United players can understand that, I'd love that. But that's what Liverpool have. He will change his tactics at half-time, he will change his formation, and Liverpool players seem like screwed on. They know what they're doing. They know what the manager wants to do. It can be different tactics. It can be half-time adaptions. It can be the same 11 players on the pitch, and they can come at different side in that second half because Slot will say, can you do this and this instead? And they will do it. Their understanding of it, they will do it. And I think where Slot has it a little bit over other managers right now, and I think he's done this more than any other Premier League manager, is if it's the first half hasn't gone his way, his ability to understand what the opponents are doing and adapt is top-notch. Top-notch. That's something that he has over other managers who've been more stubborn. Arteta, for example. And he's adapted really well. Even the game against Chelsea, I think Chelsea was an opposition where he knew was going to have more possession than him. He knew that Chelsea were very comfortable in possession. So he didn't play a possession game versus Chelsea. He played more of a counter-attacking game. And that's how Liverpool got the win. They let Chelsea dominate elements of that game. They let Chelsea do their thing. But he set up Liverpool to win. He set up Liverpool perfectly to win against United and exploited our big holes and gapes in midfield and our weaknesses on the ball. Those big games, Man United, Chelsea, he set up perfectly for the win. The other games, Arsenal, Brighton, Ipswich, he adjusted at half-time for the win. And I think that's what makes him stick out. And this was some of my notes for the Brighton game. I said, Brighton were ready for Liverpool. They knew how to handle them. Brighton knew what Slot was going to do. And I don't think Liverpool were good in that first half versus Brighton. But then Trent sort of asked to come inside more in the second half, dragged to Brighton, win it inwards, opened up more space on the right. I felt that was one thing that did. But it was more that Trent had more freedom in the second half to take risks in possession. I thought Trent, who had a poor first half, had a good second half. And I think in general, Slot switched from what I believe was a 4-3-3 to a 4-4-2. Salah and Nunes up top, pressing, working hard. And then Liverpool get 2 goals. They go to this 4-4-2 in the second half. They get 2 goals. As soon as they get 2 goals, he goes back to the 4-3-3. Endo comes on, shuts down shop, Don't concede, don't concede. I think Liverpool, they have conceded a few more goals lately, but I think Liverpool sort of, once they focus and change that 4-3-3 of Endo coming on, I think their ability to defend is quite good. They've got one of the best they have the best defensive record in the league this season, and Slot does well there. And I just think with Slot, he's not stubborn. If it doesn't work, he adapts it and he's brave. And I think so many managers lack that in this game, where they go with their idea. But I think Slot's ability to change it up is the real reason why Liverpool are top of the league. That's what the title's going to be. The real reason Liverpool to believe, because of Slot's adaptability. Now, this guy probably explains it better than me. Still amazed at how Arne Slot read the game yesterday to introduce tactics to alter the match within minutes. Obviously, it's a manager's job, but it seems to work quite quick and instantly to change a match. That was fantastic. I've waffled for 3 minutes. He summed up what I wanted to say in a couple of words on a tweet. That's the real reason for me that Liverpool are top of the league. Other things I think Slot has improved is Liverpool's defence. Konate, Van Dijk, just been fantastic together. And I think Liverpool's out of possession structure has been more compact. I think there's a couple of times they've been open, because I think Gravenberch, as good as he's been, he isn't a natural six in terms of his defensive positioning. And I'm not slating Gravenberch. I think he's been the best midfielder in the league this season. And I think that his positioning is a lot better than I expected. And he's really read the game well. But he's like, he would be so good as an 8 with a proper 6, like Suleiman next to him, just because he is known for his qualities on the ball. Players like Gomez, Jones, Gakpo, Nunes, Bradley. Obviously, Gakpo's been getting more starts lately, and Nunes has been getting more starts lately. They're players that may feel they can start. I think Bradley, obviously, is competing with Trent. You're never going to get over Trent, but I think as a backup is one of the best backups you're going to have. But they're not sulking that they're not starting. They are coming in, they're performing, they're asked to do a job. They've not had a lot of minutes. They come in. Gomez yesterday, fantastic. Curtis Jones coming recently, been fantastic. The subs are coming in, they're contributing effectively, and they're showing good attitude. There's players at United that will sulk when they're on the bench for too long, and then they get subbed on and they don't do anything. These Liverpool players, maybe it's because Liverpool are winning and top of the league, so as a player you can't really blame the manager. Like, if you're not playing and your team is constantly winning, I feel like they can't sit there and not like Slot for that. Whereas I guess at United, if we're 14th in the league and Ten Hag isn't playing this player, they can think the manager's stupid because we're 14th in the league. But the attitude from the Liverpool players that when they are called up to then put in a shift and give 100% and they respect Slot's decision and how he's managed their minutes and kept them all happy, I think is really impressive. Other improvements is, Gakpo absolutely excelling in his best role. I think in recent games, Gakpo's really impressed me in that left wing role. Klopp used him as a striker, which was such a waste of his ball carrying ability. Diaz, Tsimikas, Gravenberch, I think have all improved this season. I think Tsimikas was quite good last game, given Robertson for his money. Gravenberch been the significant improvement, but Diaz, Gakpo, he's improving players. He's knowing how to utilise certain players' strengths. And as I said, he's got a better understanding of player profile and maximising the squad. He's given Salah a bit more freedom in attack. He can come a little bit central at time, be closer to goal. Nunes, he leverages Nunes' pressing ability, the energy. Diaz, he knows that he's direct, he brings energy. Gakpo, he knows that he should be on the wing because his carrying ability, his output, cutting inside. And then Gravenberch, he knows he's got the technical strengths to play DM because he needs a technical DM. And while Endo is a DM, he's not as good on the ball as Gravenberch. So he's like, well, Gravenberch's got physical and technical traits to be a DM. He's utilised that. He knows that Konate can defend the wide channels really, really well. He knows that that's a really good pairing with Virgil van Dijk. And then when called upon, Joe Gomez can do a job. And I think that's really, really impressed me under Slot. It's not just his tactical changes, but the way he uses the Liverpool team. And Arne Slot said this on Joe Gomez: if you come into a game where the team is outplayed for 45 minutes and can do this kind of performance, that says a lot. I think that this is what people told me when I came here. Joe is a top professional. I think the fans loved what they saw. I definitely did. And I spoke about this in my match reaction. Liverpool were not good for 45 minutes versus Brighton. Konate comes off, Liverpool's second best player this season after Gravenberch, in my opinion. Joe Gomez comes on and puts in a shift. He's barely played. He's a player that's good enough to play week in, week out in the Premier League. He gets called upon. He puts in a monster of a shift. And he was probably a key reason why Liverpool won that game. And Arne Slot said this: I really like what I've seen from the players who haven't played that much this season. They're able to play a similar style that we usually do and they brought quality into the game. It makes it even harder for me to make lineups in the next coming weeks. And that's a really good position for Liverpool to be in. I'm really jealous of that. The fact that your players that aren't playing come in, they do work. Curtis Jones, Joe Gomez recently, but I think Harvey Elliott could come in and give him a problem there. That could be a good player. Conor Bradley seems to impress me. Tsimikas coming in. Gakpo, Diaz have got to compete. Shota started, but now Nunes is playing. I'm sure Chiesa will come back. You know, the fact that Slot is utilising the squad, keeping the players happy, and he's got a system that is getting the best out of every player, and every player is able to come in and put in the shift. It says a lot about Liverpool. Other strengths I noted, I don't want to make this video too much longer, is I think one thing is he's able to work with players recruited by other coaches and implement a cohesive style, win games and keep the players motivated and happy. None of these are his players other than Chiesa. He's inherited Klopp's squad, and he's able to show a style of play, instantly inherits Klopp's squad. Obviously, it was the right recruitment. There's a lot of similarities to Slot and Klopp, but instantly inherits Klopp's squad and gets them playing. And it's big shoes to fill that. You know, Moyes, Van Gaal, no one stepped up to Alex Ferguson's shoes. Obviously, not comparing Klopp and Sir Alex. What Sir Alex did was ridiculous at Manchester United, but Klopp, what he done was really good. And to be the manager to take over from Klopp can't be easy. Liverpool made the right appointment. I think from a stylistic perspective, he has the most similarities to Klopp, and I think he was the coach able to get the best out of this side. But not taking that away from him, what an achievement Slot has done so far, what a job he's doing so far. He effectively utilises the squad, brings out the strengths of each player, and he is the head coach. I think he needs more backing from Liverpool. I don't know what this Trent Salah contract situation is, and he's not had any backing from those above him. I think those above him have done a really good job in bringing him in because they've realised that he suits the profile of the players that Klopp brought in, and I think those above him have done a really good job in recruitment. They've brought some really good players that are technically good, that are, you know, athletically good, but those above him need to back him. The Liverpool board need to back him because he probably wants to extend at least 2 of Salah, Van Dijk and Trent's contracts, probably 3. He wants them. They're key players, and he's having to answer loads of questions. He has to answer all these questions in press conferences constantly about the contract situation, and you can see, you know, he doesn't want Salah to go. And I think the Liverpool board need to do something soon and back him, because I do feel a bit for Slot. I don't really, but what I'm saying is he's not had a window. I think he wants these players to stay, and they're not being given new contracts, and he's the one that's got to deal with that. I think he's done a really good job after 10 games. I do think, you know, Liverpool, City have proven time and time again they've won the league 4 times in a row. They could catch up. I think he needs some backing in January. I think he needs a bit more support from those above him, but I think that Slot has really impressed me so far this season. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.